and welcome to a new video. It's no secret that I really adore the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, and I think a lot of you do as well. I like the lasting power, how it wears throughout the day, but something I've come to realize is that these blushes are really versatile as well. There's not just one way to apply it, there's not just one way to incorporate it into an everyday look. My favorite method is using a brush and just using my hand as a palette and kind of stippling and adding on the color as I go. I find that when I dot it on my cheeks and try to blend it out, there's just less control because the formula is really pigmented and it spreads like really far. So if you start with like a bit too much on your cheek, it's just hard to like reel it in. I have Hope right here. There is a swatch of that color there. And I take a brush like this. It's kind of slightly domed synthetic kabuki brush, and I just got this like in a set on Amazon. I dip the brush in the product and just get like a little bit on the tip of the brush, and then I pat it on my face. So here's where I usually place the blush. It's kind of on my cheekbones, like on the high part of my cheekbones, and I bring it up toward my hairline. And then just a little bit on kind of the front apple part of my cheek. And then I use the brush that I used for my tinted moisturizer and diffuse the edges. So there is kind of one way to apply it. And then another way, same idea, but just a bit of a different placement, is concentrating it more on kind of the center of my face rather than sweeping it up. And then blend out the edges. It's not so different, but this side where I put it kind of on the tops of my cheekbones leading up to my hairline, it does give more of a lifted look if that's what you're going for. Whereas this side gives a bit more of a full kind of plump look to your cheek. So yeah, that's kind of the basic way that I like to apply the blush if all I want is just a bit of color. It looks like skin, and that's my favorite part of it, is just blends in seamlessly with the tinted moisturizer or the foundation that you have underneath. So the base is reapplied, and I'm going to show you the other way that I like to use this product, and that is actually mixing different shades of the product to kind of customize the color. If you happen to have 2 or more shades of this blush, it's definitely worth a shot to see if you can kind of customize your own shade with the shades that you already have. So I'm going to be mixing Hope and Grateful, which is what I usually do. So there is what that looks like, and as you blend, you kind of get this fun new color. And I'm going to put a bit more of the Grateful to get more of that red tone in there. So it still has that bright pop of color because Grateful is so bright, but Hope kind of neutralizes it just a little bit. And I'll layer on just a little bit more to get this fresh color that's a bit more pink than Grateful on its own. It's a bit more red than Hope on its own, but that's not all the customizing you can do. I also really enjoy mixing it with liquid luminizers or liquid highlighters. So naturally today I'm going to use the Rare Beauty liquid luminizer in the shade Mesmerize. And this has a nice rose gold kind of undertone. So I take a dab of that and mix it in. And this will also change the tone of the blush a little bit. It'll make it a little bit lighter, as you can see there. That outer part is kind of what the blush looked like originally, and with the luminizer it adds a sheen. I know this was a trend, like people dotting on the blush and then the highlighter around it and then blending it in one go. I've tried that and I think it does work, but similar to the reason why I don't put the blush directly on my face and then blend out, I find it's just hard to control like where all that product is going to blend out. That's why I like to just pre-mix it on the back of my hand and then get into it. By By mixing it in the blush, you get more of a subtle highlight that isn't so glittery or so obvious, but you see this kind of wet looking glow. And lastly, something else I've been doing is using it not only on my cheeks, but also on my eyelids and on my lips for that monochromatic kind of look. Let's just carry on with this new shade that I created. Just sheer it out with my fingers. And because I mixed in the highlight, it leaves a really pretty sheen. And I think pink on the eyelids is like really nice. If you find a tone that complements your face and doesn't make it look like your eyes are like inflamed or like infected, there it is on the eyelids, and it's just a nice kind of wash of color that's very sheer. It will last all day, and you don't really have to think about it and try to coordinate an eyeshadow that matches with your blush because it's monochromatic. It will look really nice and uniform and pulled together. Now for the lips, I make sure I have a balm underneath because these aren't like moisturizing per se, especially if you have dry lips like me, you will need some sort of balm underneath. Maybe put a gloss on top and call it a day. And you have this really easy monochromatic look with kind of one color product. Something I want to try is using Grateful as a lip color. Oh wow. I like that it's a very like emollient, balmy texture that packs a lot of pigment, so you can sheer it out and just have like a light wash of color if you want. You can build it up and kind of go in with 2-3 layers. I am gonna see if it transfers on my hand. Yeah, it transfers a little bit. It almost just looks like a lip stain, like you just ate like a popsicle and your lips are just kind of stained from that pigment. So yeah, these are just a couple more ways to use the Rare Beauty liquid blush besides just using it as a plain blush on your cheeks, especially if you have a couple shades and you're not sure if you want to keep buying more shades. You can always mix them together to kind of create a new shade that brings that newness and excitement to your routine. Also mixing it with highlighters and just having fun with different combinations that you can find in your own collection. If you like a monochromatic look like I do, using kind of one pigment product all over is a great way to achieve that. It gave me a lot more appreciation for the product, especially as like there's always like new blush launches that are very tempting to me. It's nice to just find new ways to appreciate and use the products that I already have. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.